Welcome to Lesson 2, Mastering Your Mind. Since procrastination is something that isn't a physical issue, it's something that's just going on up here. So when we're able to really find the doors and the keys that fit into the doors to open them up, that's where we really unlock our true passion and potential and are able to take consistent action towards a desired outcome. So what I'm going to talk about first is developing a model of the mind. This is the way that I look at it, and this is what I teach my students, and it seems to help a lot of people kind of visualize what it is that we're dealing with. And once we see what it is that we are approaching in visual terms, it makes it so much easier to actually adjust, and, well, you'll see. So what I'm going to talk about first is a model of the mind. So here's the way that it works, is we are looking through what I call the... So what I'm going to talk about first is the model of the mind. And the way that I model the mind is, it's like we are sitting here and we are looking through two lenses. Either two lenses or two window panes, as I like to call them. And so we imagine that we're sitting in a house, or standing in a house, and we're looking out a window. And this window can get mud splattered on the outside. You know, say a little kid comes by and just throws an ice cream cone at the window. And then, you know, it makes it very difficult to see outside because you have ice cream all splattered all over your window. And then the same thing can be true on the inside. Maybe your kid actually goes to the inside with a Sharpie and draws all over the inside of the window pane, right? Or of your window. And it makes it difficult to see reality for what it really is. And this is an analogy that I use for the way that we view the world, or our reality. And the outside of the window is what I call our sense data. It's our eyes, our ears, our nose, our taste, our touch, our hearing. And the inside is what I call our window of belief. So the outside, it's affected by what kind of shape we're in, if we happen to be slightly intoxicated, if we, are, also our emotions paint this outer pane. So if, I eat a bunch of soy or something and I'm feeling extra emotional, it's going to paint that outer pane, and it's going to make me view reality through that lens, right? And it's going to make me act accordingly. Same thing with being drunk. I mean, you can be the best driver in the world, right? But if the outside of your window pane on your car is covered in ice or covered in just whatever, then it's going to make it very difficult to drive effectively. And that's what happens when, a great person might get drunk and then they start acting erratically. Maybe us, but that's what happens. So, as importantly though, this inner pane, the inside of the window, or window of belief, also paints the picture of the world that we experience and also determines the way that we're going to act. So, if I believe that the world is a ugly place, and you better watch your back because the world is rough. How do you think I'm going to act versus if I believe the world is a beautiful place and that people are here to help each other? Or how am I going to act if the world is a rough and tumble place and you can't trust people? Versus if I believe that the world is full of people just waiting to be my friend, all I have to do is introduce myself. How do you think that these beliefs are going to shape my daily actions? And so, by understanding this, and also understanding that we decide what those beliefs are, a lot of us are just kind of going on autopilot with a bunch of Sharpie written on the inside of our window of belief. that we just drew on when we were just a small child. We didn't consciously make up these decisions. We didn't consciously decide upon these beliefs because they were something that benefited us. We decided upon them because one time we were peer pressured into saying this over and over again. We said it over and over again, and it's like, well, it's just who I am. Well, I'm going to challenge you to take a look at these beliefs. And throughout this course, having to do with procrastination, but in life in general, I challenge you to look at these beliefs and then ask yourself, are they serving you? And are they serving the world? Since the outer pain is sort of out of the scope of this course, you can get, some books on dieting, on working out, or whatever it is that you want if you want to really focus on that. But what we're going to focus on is something that we can control and change today. And that's that inside window of belief. And so what I want to do is I want us to come up with a few different tasks that it is that we procrastinate on a regular basis. And you can just go ahead and pause this video if you want to. Come up with, two or three. It doesn't have to be a big deal. You can always come back and do this process again later. And I suggest that you do it later. In fact, this video will always be here, so you can always just come back, watch it again, when you have some sort of behavior that you want to change. So go ahead and press play or pause and just come up with 3 things and then hit play again. Did you do it? I hope you did. If you didn't do it, press pause and come back to me. It's really important that we do these assignments because otherwise we're both just wasting our time here. So I would much rather you do the assignment, come up with the benefit, and enjoy a much better quality of the rest of your life. But if you did do it, let's carry on. So you have your tasks. Now, I have a question for you. What do you feel about these tasks when you think about them, when you think about doing them? So underneath each one of them, write down just the feelings you get about them. Like what is it that you feel that makes you not want to do it? Like, for example, this is worthless, this is pointless, it's so small and menial, it's boring, it's 1, 2, 3. So just write down a list of 3 or 4 thoughts, that you think under each one. Okay, now that you have that, I hope that you've done it. I'll stop harping on it, I promise, but I just cannot emphasize enough how important it is that you do these assignments to get a benefit from this course. It doesn't take very long, and the cost of your investment, think about it, you spend 3 or 4 minutes, you're going to save hours and days as the months and years go by. So you've invested in this course. Make sure that you get the optimum value out of it. Okay, so let's move on. So you have your feelings down. This is how I feel about it. I feel bored. I feel like I'm wasting time. I feel like this. Now, let me ask you something. What would you have to believe? Ask yourself this, in fact. What would I have to believe in order to feel this way about these tasks? What would I have to believe? What would I have to believe to think that this is boring? What would I have to believe to feel that, this is just a waste of time? And once we have our beliefs, then we can take a look at them. Then we actually have what is painted on that window of belief that I was talking about before. And when we see these beliefs, then we'll be able to do something about it. And so I'll do the research paper example again. And I will also emphasize a hiccup that a lot of people find in this process. And that hiccup is, so why don't I want to do the research paper? And then it's just drawing a blank. It's like, I don't know. I just can't get myself to do it. Okay. Why can't I get myself to do it? Is the next question. Looking deep. Okay. Why can't I get myself to do this? Well, I think that I feel that I'm wasting my time because it's not something that I'm really interested in. Now we might be getting somewhere. So why do I feel like I'm wasting my time, and why do I think this is something that I'm not interested in? Okay, I feel like I'm wasting my time because this is not going to impact anything in the long run. And I feel that I'm not interested in it because it's something that the teacher assigned for me. It wasn't something that I chose, or if I chose it, I had to choose it within certain parameters within a field that I'm not interested in. Boom. Alright, so now we have our beliefs, right? The same thing can be done with laundry, the same thing can be done with anywhere. It's just digging deeper with the probe, like with the probing questions. So, if you feel stuck, just ask yourself the question and dig deeper, dig deeper, deeper. Okay, why do I feel like I can't come up with an idea? You know, why do I feel that way? Why do I just feel like I can't do it? And trust me, if you give your mind a question, it's going to deliver an answer. So just take a breath. You'll get through this process, but it's very important and it's vital to the success for your future. So follow through. So now that we have those beliefs, now that we have the root causes of why this is happening, now what we need to do is we need to actually create beneficial beliefs to replace them. So by looking at the fact that, we'll go back to the research paper, by looking at the fact that I think it's a waste of time and I think that it's something that I'm not interested in, well, let's go here. Let's do it this way. What would I have to believe in order for me to be excited about this? And make sure that it's true. So, with the waste of time, okay, it's a waste of time, it's something that won't ultimately matter. Okay, but what will happen if I don't do this research paper? It seems like it will ultimately matter. If I fail this course, that'll matter. That'll adjust the rest of my life. And who knows what'll happen. What would I have to believe to be excited about this? You know, and even if it is something that I'm writing about that's not my ideal thing, like say it's maybe I'm writing a paper on, I don't know what they're having me write a paper on, something that's not interesting at all to me. Let's see, I don't want to offend anybody by saying that something's not interesting to me, because everybody's interested in different things. But something that would not be exciting for me would be, we'll just say knitting. Knitting is something that I don't think that I'd like. Me, I'm like a very big picture sort of person. I can't focus on the small little things like that for a long time. Well, I can, but it's very fatiguing for me. So that would be my thing. Okay, so I'm writing a research paper now. I'm writing a 20-page research paper on knitting. Something I'm not interested in, right? So what could I be interested in knitting? How could I make it interesting? Okay, well, I could become interested in knitting by realizing how much it has revolutionized the world. I could become interested in knitting by realizing that it is the foundation for Kevlar body armor. That's kind of interesting. I could become interested in knitting, and I just thought of that. I could become interested in knitting by remembering a blanket that this really kind woman knitted for me when I was just a child. And I could associate those feelings as I'm going forward, and I can write from that frame of reference. And that's what we need to do with those things on your list. So once you have the root cause, come up with some new beliefs. And whenever one of those old beliefs plays through your head, break the pattern first, and this is essential as well. Say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then play your new belief. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. I like knitting because, I don't know, Granny Smith made me mittens. I can do it. It's so funny, but just as an example. So do that. Do that with each one of your tasks. And once you have these new beliefs, that etches new beliefs on your window of belief. And it changes the way that you view the world. And so after a short amount of time, very short amount of time, most of the time it's actually instantly. Instantly. Next time you come up to one of these things, you're not even going to have that old pattern playing anymore. But if you do, like I said, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Or you can come up with something similar, whatever works well for you. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And play your new belief. And you'll only have to do that 1 or 2 times. And then it's over. That old thought pattern is gone. And sometimes, like when I have a strong belief that I need to really reprogram, I do push-ups. For me, it's push-ups. I go down, I do my push-ups, and I say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then I usually come up with something new every time. It's like, I can do anything I set my mind to. I can do anything I set my mind to. I can do anything I set my mind to. And that's what I do. One more tool that I want to give you before we finish up this lesson, and this is something that works really well if you can't say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, like you're in a coffee shop or something and you don't want to scare people. So it's creating a trigger. And this sounds crazy, but it works. And the way that to create a trigger, and the way that it works really is, I don't know if you've ever known anybody or you yourself have experienced something traumatic happening, something extremely traumatic happening, like childhood trauma. And I think that most of us know somebody like this, and who will be unable to be touched a certain way without triggering certain thoughts and emotions and feelings. And the same thing happens with a lot of veterans, a lot of my friends. I'm a veteran myself, and I know a lot of people who have PTSD, and they get triggered by certain situations. So we always hear about these triggers in the negative way, but what most people don't talk about is it's actually possible to create positive triggers as well. So, like someone who was sexually abused as a child might get very triggered by just a touch on the shoulder, and it's a sad thing. But we can do the same thing if we want to create an unstoppable state of determination, drive, and dependability. And the way that we do this is just like the negative trigger is created by extreme emotional feeling in association with a certain kind of touch, like this. The emotional brain, along with the intellectual brain, have gotten together and said, okay, well, when I get touched like this, then I feel like that, right? And so that's the way that it works. And so what we need to do to create a positive trigger is to actually come up with a extreme emotional positive state that we want to have on tap at our command and at our demand. And then we need to do a unique kind of touch on our body that will trigger this at our command. And that's what we want. And so what we do is we think about, when was a time when, like say I want to just come up with an unstoppable feeling on tap, right? And how do I want to program it? I'll go these fingers right here. And because I don't want to accidentally trigger it, right? I don't want to put it here so someone slaps me on the shoulder, I'm like, woo! So how do we come up with this extreme emotional state that's so strong that we put it on a trigger like that? Well, what we do is we imagine a time when we felt unstoppable, or whatever it is, determined, it's in a flow state. Imagine a time when you just felt like everything was working out in life. Wouldn't that be something to have good on tap? And then we just visualize and just remember it. Remember the details. How are the people treating us? How are we treating people? What did I feel in my heart when this was happening? How did I walk? How did I talk? How did I act? And hold your body in the way that you held your body then. Breathe the way that you were breathing. Think the way that you were thinking. And get there. Be there. Maybe people are cheering. Imagine people are starting to cheer for you. Imagine how good you can feel. And just feel as good as possible. Feel the emotion. Be it, see it, touch it, taste it, be there, live it. And just at the peak of that emotion, you touch your trigger that you want to program. And then you stop, you get out of it. Go back to the place. Do it over again. Do it 3, 4, or 5 times, touching your trigger only when you are at the peak of the emotion. And you'll have a new trigger. And it sounds so simple, it sounds so crazy, but it's something that I've done, and I have these triggers on my body now that I'm able to touch, and I'm able to just come up with an unstoppable state within an instant. I've done it to get rid of anger as well. So if somebody just angers me, I have a peace emotion that I'm able to just trigger on command. And so I suggest doing this if you think that it's a tool that can benefit you. Other than that, we've gone over the assignment. Make sure that you follow through with the assignment. Do it in detail. If you take 20-30 minutes on this assignment, I would say that that's probably the minimum. But even if you just do it for 5 minutes, it's going to be better than no minutes. Because so many people have never looked at these areas of their life. And I can guarantee you, over the next few days, just after doing this assignment, you are going to notice a massive breakthrough in your life. It's definitely worth it. Follow through with this. Follow through with this for yourself. Follow through for me, please. And share your thoughts down in the comment box below. I love to see success stories, and so let me know what happens over the next few days. Let's hear your success, and it will inspire other people in the group as well. So, thanks again for watching. J.R. Cook here, and I'll see you in the next lesson.